Surviving Summer. Here now, Elizabeth Vargas and David Muir.
Tonight, with millions of American families trying to get the most out of these final weeks of summer, so many headed to America's shores. But if you or someone you know is checking into a hotel, tonight here, the video that will shock you. Straight from the Jersey Shore's famed Atlantic City.
And it's all captured on tape. The knockdown, drag-out brawl between security guards and guests. Did security go too far? Brian Ross tonight with the tape and the tough questions. What will you decide?
In its jazzy marketing campaign, Atlantic City and its casinos promote the New Jersey Oceanfront Resort as a place where everyone is welcome. Gamblers, hipsters, and families. That's not what the Binns family of Cape Coral, Florida found.
It was miserable. It was absolutely miserable.
University of Pennsylvania student and classical guitarist Sean Oakes fared no better.
Not what you expected when you came to Atlantic City?
Not what I expected.
And it was even worse for former college basketball player Rob Coney, now a junior accountant in Philadelphia.
I'm laying in the pool of my own blood. I thought I was dying. I thought I was dead.
All of this took place in one casino in Atlantic City, Harrah's, part of the giant Caesars Entertainment Corporation, one of the biggest gambling companies in the world. In the case of the Binns family, now suing Harrah's, voices were raised and security moved in after John Binns, a professional poker player, says he was being evicted because the hotel computer mistakenly did not list him as a guest, even though they'd been staying there for 2 days. Then suddenly, what few would consider good hospitality.
They grabbed him and just slammed him to the floor. And all I could say was, get off of him, he's got a pacemaker.
Renee Binns, a lawyer, and her daughter Andrea say they too got loud, afraid for his life.
They were very rough, just like slammed him to the floor.
And then, as mother and daughter walked away from the scene, toward the elevators to their room, security swooped in to stop them.
I just kept yelling that she's a minor, don't touch her, as loud as I could.
Watch as the daughter is rustled to the ground and handcuffed.
I didn't know where my mom was, and then I remember being brought to the floor and getting my face smashed into the marble floor.
And then mom brought down, dragged off by a man her lawyer says is the casino's head of security.
It ended up with a broken nose for Andrea, whiplash, and early termination of what was supposed to be a very nice family trip.
For 26-year-old college student Sean Oakes, a trip with a friend to Atlantic City was supposed to be a chance to meet girls. As part of its effort to attract more than the usual gambling crowd, Harrah's hosts a hugely popular indoor pool party, throbbing music, a packed dance floor with the liquor flowing. Oakes says his problem began even before he got inside, as a security guard closely inspected his driver's license, as seen on the hotel surveillance tape.
And he starts to bend my ID in half. And I was like, oh my God, don't do that.
As Oakes tries to grab his driver's license back, the trouble begins.
A whole gang of people jumped on me and piled on and kicked me and hit me in the back of the head, and they were wailing on me, and I heard a voice behind me saying, break his arms if you have to.
In the movies like Ocean's 11 and another called 21, casino security people are portrayed as very tough, at least in dealing with card cheats. In the real-life version, Oakes, who was not a card cheat, ended up, he says in this lawsuit, punched, kicked, and stomped on. In a complaint filed with police, a Harrah's security guard claimed that Oakes was the aggressor, but the complaint was dropped this week. Are you an aggressive, violent person?
No, absolutely not.
Been in many fights?
Never.
Until this night in Atlantic City.
I wouldn't even call it a fight, though, because I wasn't fighting anyone. I was just being beaten.
But the worst of the incidents at the popular casino involved Rob Coney, whose 6'7" height made him a standout basketball player in school. But security guards said his size made them fearful, according to a report later filed by an off-duty police officer working for the casino. Coney, in the plaid shirt, says the incident began when a guard wrongly said he had left the pool party and could not return. His friend in the vest apparently tries to calm things down by backing him off. Coney admits he had been drinking at the time, like most of those at the party, and became upset and used rough language. Coney says Harrah's security, including the off-duty Atlantic City police officer in uniform, kept at it, even as they were in the lobby, and his friends continued to back him away. Here the video shows the officer with his baton in his right hand, about to move in.
And next thing I know, this officer strikes me in my throat, and then he brings his baton, and then he chases me and beats me. And I'm on the ground, and they're on top of me, hitting me.
Coney is later hauled off, bleeding from his head. The off-duty officer would later claim Coney pushed him twice and charged him in a fighting manner. While Coney later pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor disorderly person count, no charges were brought against the off-duty police officer who beat him with the baton, and Coney has now filed a civil lawsuit.